Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Syifa and Putri, and today I'm going to present an article that talk about Terifles play with title The Awakening and Rebellion of the Voiceless, an interpretation of Glasspell's Terifles. In this presentation, I will explain how Susan Glasspell portrays women's appreciation, awakening, and silent rebellion through the characters in her play Terifles. Okay, first, introduction. Let me begin with a brief introduction. This article talks about Terifles is a one-act play written in 1916 by Susan Glasspell, a pioneering feminist writer. The play is based on a real murder case, and it is widely recognized as a feminist drama. The article argues that Terifles is not only about solving a murder, but also about exposing the struggle of women under patriarchy and highlighting how they eventually awaken and racist. Next slide is talking about Susan Glasspell and background of the play. Okay, Susan Glasspell was an important figure in modern American theater. She co-founded the Provincetown Plays and wrote several influential plays. Terifles tells the story of an investigation into the death of John Wright, with his wife Minnie Foster as the main suspect. Okay, instead of focusing solely on the murder, Glasspell uncovers deeper social issues related to gender, silence, and injustice. Okay, scholars interpret the play differently. Some call it deceptive, others see it as a political representation of rural women. I'll agree that the play reveals important feminist themes. Okay, next, the author talks about patriarchy dominance on female characters. This article has no methodology. So, in this slide, we examine how patriarchy functions in the play. The men dominate the conversation, as we can see in the plays. So, the decision making and the entire investigation, women barely speak, and even when they do, their voices are dismissed. Women's work, especially domestic work, is labeled as unimportant or Terifles. Even their identity is reduced. For example, Mrs. Peter and Mrs. Hale are revered to by their husband's name. Okay, the most symbolic example is Minnie Foster itself, of course. She never appears on stage. This highlights how women's voices are erased under patriarchy. Okay, next is talk about Sergeant of Oppression. Okay, several details there's in this place. In the play show how women are belittled. The men immediately dismiss the kitchen as a place with nothing important, suggesting that anything connected to the women is insignificant. They make mocking comments like women worry over Terifles, reinforcing the idea that women are emotional and irrational. Ironically, it is those very Terifles, the quilt, the broken bird cake, and the dead canary that contain the real evidence. This reveal how the men's arrogance blind them to the truth. Okay, the result. Talk about first, females awakening and rebellion. As the story progresses, the women slowly begin to realize that they share similar experiences of being ignored and undervalued. This shared suffering leads to empathy, understanding, and finally resistance. Here, Foucault's idea applies well. Where there is power, there is resistance. The women start to question the male-dominated system and develop solidarity with one another. This becomes the foundation for their act of rebellion. Next is Minnie's awakening and rebellion. Minnie's foster is the central figure of this awakening, as we can see in the play text. She was she was once cheerful, social, and loved to sing. But after marrying John Reich, her husband, her life became isolated and silent, 100% different. The scenery in the play symbolized Minnie herself, her voice, and happiness. When John kills the bird, he symbolically kills Minnie's spirit as well. And then this becomes the turning point. Minnie finally understands that oppression she has endured by killing her husband in the same way he killed the bird. She asserts her final act of resistance. It is her attempt to reclaim control over her life. Next result is Mrs. Hell and Mrs. Peters' awakening. Minnie's experience also opened the eye of Mrs. Hell and Mrs. Peters. At first, they followed the rules and values set by the men, but as they discovered more about Minnie's suffering, they began to recognize their own shared pain. Their empathy grows stronger, and they stand closer both physically and emotionally. When they find the date scenery, they fully understand Minnie's actions and what pushed her to the edge. Okay. Then, their decision to hide the evidence is an act of solidarity. The line "not it" symbolizes both the quill and their shared commitment to protect Minnie. It represents their united rebellion against patriarchy. Finally is the conclusion of the article. This article concludes that Terifles is a powerful portrayal of how women are silenced, marginalized, and undervalued under patriarchal society. Through Minnie's rebellion and the solidarity between Mrs. Hell and Mrs. Peters, the play reveals women's awakening and the refusal to remain voiceless. Glasspell not only criticizes male ignorance but also celebrates women's intelligence, empathy, and strength. The unresolved endings suggest hope for a future where awakened women can reclaim their power. Okay, that's all my presentation about the article The Awakening and Rebellion of the Voiceless, an interpretation of Glasspell Terifles. Thank you for watching. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.